From the land of conjurers flying through the internet to your device like a UAP, hauntingly unexplained and downright weird, this is the Witching Hours, and we are ready to take off in the flash of an eye. Good evening to one all, whenever and wherever you are listening to this program. I am Jonathan Frost, and joining me, as always, is the medium Jenny Lee. You ready to get weird, Jenny?
Yes. Aren't we supposed to have Alyson on here with us?
Yeah, we were, but there was a disconnection, so we can bring Alyson, the Priestess of Wonderland, on right now. You disappeared on us, Alan. I imagine there's a technical difficulty on the other side.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was asking me to log in, and then it was like not letting me log in.
Oh my goodness. I didn't notice that. Because there's
so
many crazy things happening in the Twitch chat. Pokesters gifted 10 subs. CMC resub, Norsk resubbed, and we're like at a level 4 hype train. Luce just gave some bits. There's just craziness happening.
All kinds
Thank
of
you
craziness.
guys.
Thank you. Thank
Crazy
you.
weirdness.
To everyone. Yeah, is starting off with a bang tonight.
Yeah.
Boom. So, welcome in, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Witching Hours, your home for all things paranormal, supernatural, and the unexplained.
This is
welcome in. It's good to see
92. Yikes.
What's that?
Wow.
It's episode 92.
Yeah, it is episode 92.
Do you have a plan for 100?
We have mentioned it. Hey, we should do.
Of course,
when is episode 100?
It's all been planned out, and I have it written in a big old book that's in the book. It's fine.
We're wanting to do something, but we haven't really figured it out yet.
Yeah, we know roughly when it's going to be, but sometimes you do have like the random canceled guest or something, which probably won't happen. But it looks like right now, I think it'd be somewhere right in the middle of April. So we just got a couple months. We'll be hitting episode 100.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is insane. Insane.
I know. I remember saying like, this is episode 3. Can you imagine? We're still doing this? Now we're like almost at 100.
And I guess the plan right now is I want to make sure which one is going to be 100 because we've thought about, I don't know, maybe bring in some people on and have, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We've discussed things.
It's kind of weird because we got a little koala heart
from the hype train.
The hype train.
Oh, it's cute.
Yeah, because I don't want to like book it and then it ends up being episode 99.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll have something planned out for it. We're looking forward to it. Well, welcome in, everyone. We have a great show for you tonight. We have Tarot Mama on. We're going to talk about 2025 predictions and tarot and all kinds of stuff tonight.
This is of course, Twitch spectacular here.
Yeah. Of course, we have Alyson, and we're going to talk about the moon phase updates here in a moment. I did want to go over real quick. Have the webpage over. You can find all of our upcoming shows at thewitchinghourspodcast.com. And so next week, we're going to have Preston Dennett on.
Yay!
Which I guess is as good a time as any with all the crazy stuff that's been going on. We can talk about UFOs next week.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Bigfoot again the week after with Michael Famelon.
Can't talk about Bigfoot enough, so.
We're going to have who I still call Cosmic Unwind.
I know.
And the Mystic Village. He's going to be on to finish off February, and we're going to start off March with Linda Eastburn, and we're going to talk about Bigfoot, UFOs, and ghosts that night. So
just throwing it all together.
Yeah, yeah, we got a lot going on, and we met a lot of friends. We saw a lot of old friends at the Hanover Tavern Paracon last weekend. But we also have some new friends that we've met, and so we've already started booking some of the cool people we got to hang out with
this year on the Witching Hours.
Yeah, all kinds of interesting things going on. I did want to show real quick down here in the Witching Hour studio. I have been able to upgrade my coaster situation. So I have all kinds of cool.
Speaking of Bigfoot and ETs,
Bigfoot coasters down here in the famous Witching Hours studios.
Otherwise known as our den. Holy Bigfoot.
What we got? The immersion. You're breaking the immersion, Jenny.
The immersion.
What are you doing? All right.
Hey, what's the news?
All right. The weird news. I got to start off with this one. It's become my thing. I don't know how it became my thing, but it's my thing. Human brain samples contain an entire spoon's worth of nanoplastics.
Oh, for crying out loud. Says. Why is Alyson always here every time we have a plastic story? What is with this? Human brains have a whole spoonful of nanoplastics?
Yeah. The size of a plastic spoon, a whole spoon.
Oh, the whole entire spoon.
Cognitively normal human brain samples collected at autopsy in early 2024 contained more tiny shards of plastic than samples collected 8 years prior, according to a new study. So it's an increase in the amount of nanoplastics that they're finding in cadavers.
We're all carrying around plastic spoons in our heads. Yeah, no wonder we have brain fog.
Overall, cadaver.
How does plastic get into our brain?
Holy moly.
Overall, cadaver brain samples contain 7 to 30 times more tiny shards of plastic than their kidneys and liver, said co-lead study author Matthew Campen, Regents professor and professor of pharmaceutical sciences at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. The concentrations we saw in the brain tissue of normal individuals who had an average age of around 45 or 50 years old were 4,800 micrograms per gram, or 0.48% by weight. That's the equivalent of an entire standard plastic spoon.
That's crazy.
Compared to autopsy brain samples from 2016, that's about 50% higher. So just in the last 9 years.
Jeez.
That would mean that our brains today are 99.5% brain and 0.5% plastic.
0.5% spoon.
It is possible, however, that the current methods of measuring plastics may have underestimated the levels because science is, improving in these researchers. Researchers found an additional 3 to 5 times of shard-like plastic fragments in the brains of 12 people who have been diagnosed. That's another thing. They're finding higher levels of plastic in patients with dementia. And they don't know.
No wonder you got a whole damn spoon in there.
Well, they don't know if there's more plastic in their brain and that's causing dementia, or it's the fact that there's degradation in the brain that's allowing more places for the plastic to sit.
More spoons.
So they don't know yet.
Stuck in.
But microplastics. I don't know. I think there's something. I think it's something we got to watch out there. I mean, it's obviously not natural. They're debating, what are going to be the reproductive consequences of all this. So, maybe we're just turning into AI, right? Maybe we'll just turn into artificial
plastic.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I can't do it.
Story number 2, FBI agents who investigate UFOs worried they could be pushed out if possible job purge. FBI agents who are part of a secretive group investigating the surge of unidentified anomalous phenomena, or what we call UFOs, are worried that they could lose their jobs in a possible FBI purge targeting officials who worked on January 6 cases. Some of the FBI agents who work in the group also worked on January 6 cases. So according to the people that they were talking to, all agents across the Bureau have been ordered to fill out a questionnaire about their work on the Capitol attack. There are worries that the move would lead to a Trump-ordered purge at the agency. They've spoken to several agents from the UAP working group who are afraid of losing their role in the investigation getting unintentionally compromised, said Ryan Graves, executive director of Americans for Safe Aerospace and former Navy pilot. I am concerned that the FBI's UAP working group could be affected by transition changes, and these leaders might not be aware of the incredible work these agents are doing and how their investigation could be empowered as part of a formalized intergovernmental effort. The existence of the FBI's informal working group on the issue has not been disclosed publicly before. So this story is bringing out the fact that there is essentially what I thought when I was reading this article was this is the X-Files.
Yeah, Mulder and Scully have to get new jobs now.
FBI agents
flipping
who are
burgers
working
at
on
the
UFO
McDonald's.
stuff. No one knows that there's a department, at least formally known that there's a department where there's FBI agents working on finding UFOs. But they also happen to do some work on the January 6th. And so they're worried that they're going to lose those members of the UAP team to the you'll get a new job.
Yeah.
So
poor Mulder and Scully.
Mulder and Scully coming to a McDonald's near you.
Yeah.
Number 3, scientists studying alien mummies from Peru claim bodies are 100% real after new details emerge. You know the mummies, Jenny.
Yes.
What are they? Real or fake? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of like Mulder and Scully, right? Like I want them to be real.
I want to believe
that they're real. But I think when we talked to when we had Robert Bitto on, he had some very intriguing information about the person that brought them forward and how he's had some hoaxy stuff in the past. So I don't know. I mean, I just hope that whatever things that they do to see whether they're real or not that those things are true and real. You know, all the tests that they share are not also hoaxy.
Yeah, I'm completely I don't know which way to go on this story. It's kind of one of those things where it would have to be way more public, I guess, than it is now. So the story is they've largely been dismissed as a hoax by the scientific community, but researchers studying the specimens believe otherwise. Dr. Jose Zalce, former director of the Mexican Navy Medical Department, has analyzed 21 of the strange bodies.
There's 21 of them?
Yeah. Finding fingerprints.
I thought there was like 2.
Yeah. It says 21 here. Finding fingerprints, bone wear, dental formations, muscular features, and internal organs, proving they're 100% real biological organisms, according to Dr. Zalce. He even claims some were pregnant, making them impossible to fake or replicate fraudulently, said Zalce, who has testified under oath that the mummies are real following his 6 years of work with them.
Wow.
Recent scans of a pregnant mummy revealed what appeared to be an intact fetus that had the same physical characteristics of the corpses, which the team said was proof of authenticity. The mummies first exploded onto the scene with Jamie Maussan ushered 2 small beings into the Mexico Congress in 2023. But here we have this doctor says they have performed X-rays, CT scans, and 3D reconstruction, fluoroscopy, DNA analysis, forensic fingerprinting, and tissue samples on each of the bodies for the last 6 years. And he believes that they are 100% certain that they're organic, biofunctional, and skeletal anatomical authenticity. And he says another part here was really was the fact that they had the fetus and the one. And he said that the fetus is tridactyl, 3-fingered, and it makes it one of the most important proofs of authenticity because it's like super tiny because these mummies are tiny, and so they're saying that couldn't be faked.
Well, I hope that all of that is true.
So we'll see. I don't know. I almost didn't put the story in because I'd kind of moved away from that story, but this was interesting enough to maybe put it in the let's see what happens part with it.
I hope they are.
And then the last story for tonight, this is my good story for tonight. I don't know if it's a good story, but it's the one that's supposed to be positive going into 2025 here.
It's not about plastic spoons in our brains, so that's a bonus.
Which is the NOAA study ranks groundhogs for weather predicting accuracy.
Oh, really?
So the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration released a study analyzing the annual prognostications of weather predicting groundhogs and found the most famous, Puxatawny Phil, didn't even crack the top 10. All right. Also, you just heard my southern accent come out for a second.
Phil.
Because that would be Puxatawny Phil.
Puxatawny Phil.
but I have to correct that and say Phil. Right?
We actually watched it live the other day I think that might have been maybe the second time I'd ever watched it. It was so bizarre. And like, we're so, in the United States, we're so used to it because, it's Groundhog Day, the groundhog is going to with his shadow, blah, blah, blah. But like, when you really actually see it and you're following along with what they're doing, it's so strange. Like, what are we doing? Why is it like, but it's fun. That's what matters.
Is it strange for Team Weird? I mean, I don't know.
Yes. We've just been so used to it. That is definitely a Team Weird thing.
Did he see a shadow?
He did.
He did.
So that means
we're supposed to get snow next week, so it makes sense.
6 more weeks of winter.
What is that? If he sees a shadow, then
6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah. Oh.
And if he doesn't, then it's supposed to be an early spring.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration released a study. We talked about that. Yeah, NOAA released a study ahead of Groundhog Day, which falls on last Sunday, to analyze which groundhogs, along with one prairie dog statue and a tortoise, were the most accurate in predicting whether spring would come early or late.
There's more things that predict this.
Why not? Not just groundhogs.
A prairie dog statue and a tortoise. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I think I'd go with the tortoise more than the
well, the tortoise has been around a long time.
They've been around longer.
Whether the weather's accurate or not. Groundhogs don't live very long. There's been a lot of Puxatawny Phils. Some of them were women.
Only groundhogs who have been predicting the weather for at least 20 years were included in this study, and each had to still be active as of February 2nd, 2024. The most accurate weather predictor of the bunch was found to be Staten Island Chuck, who accurately predicted the arrival of spring 85% of the time.
Hell yeah, Chuck.
I can tell you he is 100% more accurate than our local weatherman.
Oh, my goodness.
The rest of the top 5 were Georgia's General Beauregard Lee. At 80%, a Wyoming prairie dog statue named Lander Lil with 75%.
What is the tortoise's name? Do they have the tortoise's name in there? I need to know that. Oh, man.
A mythical West Virginia groundhog named Concord Charlie at 65%. And you'll like this one, Jenny. And Illinois' Gertie the groundhog with 65%.
Gertie, yes.
The most famous weather predicting groundhog, Pennsylvania's Puxatawny Phil, was all the way down at 17th place, having predicted the weather accurately only 35% of the time.
He's the most famous one.
So it sounds like we're actually going to have an early spring.
Is
Beloved
he
national
famous because of the movie?
No, I remember it being pretty famous before that.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. But was he the first one? Because they dress up like they're in, I don't know, super old clothes.
Well, I think it goes old because the last part I have here is a beloved national celebrity. Legend has it that he has been prophesizing when spring would arrive from his burrow on Gobbler's Knob since 1887.
1887. There you go.
So there we go. And that was the weird news.
There you go. Keisha found it. It's Maxine, the weather predicting tortoise in California.
Oh. Cute.
Chuck's the best.
All right, Jenny, let's get this one back on the rails.
I don't know if I can after that. Alyson, it's all you.
All right, Alyson. What do we have going on with the moon phases for February?
I feel pretty good about February.
Oh, yeah.
So, March and April, I don't feel good about.
Well, let's hold on to those.
So, February, we have to live it up. So we're starting up the first half of February. We're in an Aquarius moon cycle and Aquarius season. So this is like Team Weird season. It's being unique and different. Aquarius season is the end of January, beginning of February. So it's like you started a new year and you're trying things differently. Aquarius season is all about like out of the box thinking and doing things weird. So the first half of February is being weird. Venus just moved into Aries on the 4th. And I think this is significant because it's February, because we have Valentine's Day, and because Venus is going to go retrograde in March and April. So get all your loving in this month. And Aries, like Venus in Aries is like passion, fire, romance. Everybody that I know that has Venus in Aries just like jumps from one relationship to the next, and they're like, this is the person. I'm in love with them. They are my everything. And then like 2 months later, they're like, meh, I'm bored. So this month has that kind of energy of Venus and Aries and very fiery and passionate. But then because Venus is going retrograde, it's like coming to a screeching halt. So February is the month to like send your Valentines, get your hugs and kisses in, because it's going to be a dry season in March and April.
Dang.
So the good news is that Jupiter is going direct. It's like when we have something go retrograde, something goes direct. So I like to focus on what is working, what is moving forward. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance and luck. And it's been retrograde since October. So hopefully that means that some good news is going to come in this month. And it's in Gemini, which is really playful energy. But Gemini is also like showing you the other sides of things. So I think that's why we've had like so much chaos happening, because it's like we have all this abundance and we have all this prosperity, but we also have like the exact opposite of that. And so it's about looking at these two different dualities. However, I think this is good. We need some luck. We need some positivity. So Jupiter going direct, I feel good about it. February 12th, we have our Leo full moon. And this, I feel like Leo full moons are like some of the biggest, brightest full moons, because Leo's ruled by the sun and the moon is illuminated by the sun when the moon is full. So there's just this lots of fiery, courageous royalty kind of energy with a Leo full moon. And then also we finally have Mars going direct this month on the 23rd, which is also in Leo. So finally, hopefully we can start moving forward with things. And when we talked about Mars going retrograde before, we talked about Artax being stuck in the mud. Mars going direct is we can pull him out of the mud finally. Even though that doesn't happen in the movie, but let's just pretend that we could save him.
Artax gets saved, yes.
So Mars going direct, Jupiter going direct, a Leo full moon, Venus in Aries. It just feels like lucky, abundance, fiery, passionate kind of energy. At the end of February, the sun moves from Aquarius to Pisces. So we're moving from weird to kind of spacey and dreamy, which I think is okay. I don't know. Mercury's moving into Pisces too. So Mercury in Pisces is very poetic and artistic and eloquent with how we communicate. And then we'll have a new moon in Pisces on February 27th. So this month is very fiery, passionate, dreamy, and poetic and artsy.
That sounds good.
But I think it's going to slow down next month.
Well, let's not talk about that yet.
Yeah. So live it up this month.
Yeah.
With lots of fire and lots of passion.
There we go. And just to make you feel a little bit better, Alyson, Artax does get saved in the movie.
He does?
Yeah, at the end, they make
right. But we don't
and then
know.
he's flying over and he sees Artax.
Because everybody gets saved at the end.
Because thoughts are things, and Bastion just makes them alive again.
Whenever you think of that horrible scene, remember that
I will
could
He's
make
remember.
running with Atreyu at the end of the movie. You're right. We all cry every time. Then you're right, Frosty. He
Yeah.
comes back.
I guess
All
I
right.
gotta watch it again. It's been a while.
There you go.
Thank you, Alyson.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. All right. Diana, aka Tarot Mama, is an intuitive reader combining psychic and medium abilities to deliver comprehensive readings. She has been a Twitch streamer for over 2 years, but lived in the broom closet for the last 30. She is into all things spooky and odd and uses her intuition in her practice from crystals to herbs to spirit art. Please welcome to the show, Tarot Mama. How are you doing, Tarot Mama?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
I didn't know that Kaylin was
I know.
my wife.
She just doesn't.
She doesn't know.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Tara.
We're super excited to have you on. And you know, we were supposed to have you on for the prediction show, and then the sicknesses happened.
February, I liked what Alyson said there. Like February is like the redo month. It feels like every year. Just redo. We just throw January in the bin.
All the stuff's getting hard right now. I saw in the news the other day they had a couple school districts around here just completely shut down because of
happened here too.
Flu and norovirus and just luckily I was saying, knock on wood, we've been okay, but it's all around us. So we'll see what happens.
It's closing in.
Yeah. And it's like repetitive too. The babies just keep coming home with snotty nose and after it's just whatever.
Well, especially when you work in the school system and then you have kids at all different levels of the school and in different schools, it's just like
and this house
bound
right
to happen
now,
at some point in time.
4 different people. Well, 3 different people. 4 different people in 3 different schools. So that's a lot of germs.
Same. And I'm in hospitals too. So it's like,
mercy.
Gross. Yeah. So I used to never get sick. There you go. So yeah.
So that's the way it works. It seems to come in waves. Like a couple years ago, I just but this year I've gotten lucky. It's just been luck though. So here we go. So
he just jinxed it for us.
I know. So I was just
I got a wood desk, so I can just knock. I'll just knock on it continuously. So 2025 predictions. You were coming on to give your 2025 predictions, and so I'm curious. You got, you've been able to. I don't know if you've gone back and watching the other predictions yet or not, but what were your predictions for this year?
I didn't want to taint myself if that makes sense here. So I'll watch them later because I think it's fun to see what everybody does.
It always is.
So let me see if I can I flip my camera maybe? Does it let you do that? No, probably not. Is that too creative here? Let's see. Let's try it. Let's just try it. Make things weird. Ayo. Yeah. I'm getting better at this stuff. When I do my predictions, we do them as a communal. And I'm just going to go through the overall, but I set mine up by month and then I go through a bunch of different categories. And so I feel like that gives you a comprehensive idea because, you might see something scary, like if a tower pops up, sometimes happens. We didn't get any overall towers this year for the overall. So that's fabulous. And so, you don't know, well, where's the tower? Is it in my relationships or is it in my career? And so I feel like by doing this, it kind of helps to sort of give you an idea of where to make focus for each month.
You were pulling cards for this, right?
Yeah. So I pull cards, I map it all out. We do it on stream and then, I go back and re kind of figure it out. I like to look for any patterns I see. So if there's a repeating card that carries even in the same month between categories, that's a shout out of pay attention to me. Or I kind of go through and highlight the major arcana and also the court cards. So that's kind of where you see the blue and purple. Those are your arcana and courts because those are kind of more significant. And then I kind of just go through and look, okay, are there any areas where there's no arcana, no court? Maybe one of the pips is missing. So you might have a whole month with no cups or something like that. And that kind of gives you some ideas and clues you in. So January, I don't know how everybody else's January went, but we did our predictions like I think just kind of towards the beginning of December because December got crazy. And ironically, I started off with it's going to be a bit of a heavy month. So it's understatement of the century over here.
Yeah.
So we start off with that two of swords energy. This is the Light Seers Tarot. I love to use this one for the overalls. So for January, I know we kind of already had it, but at least you can take a look back. We kind of talked about.
That's the cool part that I was thinking about this.
Yeah,
it was like, since we're already a month in, like to go back and see what you had for January and see, was it accurate? It sounds like it was.
Exactly. Like it talked about different directions or paths to take. So we talked about like, are you going to have like questions about like which career do you go or where should you move? And so we've had a lot of people going through some pretty massive transitions. And one of the biggest things that kept coming through was talking about being careful of people around you having too much say in these choices, that you need to really focus on the choice for yourself and then sort of take other people's words later on. And then watching out for also like unnecessary drama. We definitely had a call out of like watching finances in January. So I don't know how everybody's bank account's doing now. And then don't take on too much with work and school. So practice saying no, because January is going to get overwhelming. And then I love it. Get health checkups. It's never too late. And then, all kinds of stuff happened. So yeah, health got hit hard in January. So that was fun. Then we have, so this month was much better energy. And I also, at the beginning of each month, I re-pull the cards. And so that's fun to see like the comparison of here's what we predicted at the beginning of the year, but how's our free will and our choices and decisions affected that energy? We have, I loved what Alyson said, because she was like, do everything this month. And February is like, check your energy month, get R&R, spend time with your loved ones, do stuff for yourself, self-care it up. So it was like spot on with what she was talking about of like, just live it up this month, making sure that you've got a lot of energy exchanges happening to sort of prepare yourself. I know she kind of said March. I'm hoping March is good, but we have I'm praying March is good. We have the King of Wands in reverse here. It's overall a good month, as long as you can believe in yourself and kind of stand like firm and just trust in yourself and your choices. Talked about finances and family looking pretty positive, but there's uncertainties and unknowns going on in career for that month. So it feels like it's getting ready to start like a big shift for some people with relating to career. And then it also, begins several month major arcana and career. So like if we're looking at career, all of a sudden we're just going to go boom, 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 boom. Back to back major arcana. It says, if you have confidence, preparedness, and patience, good things are on the horizon. So if we're prepared, March
sounds
can
like
be okay.
March might be a mixed bag for people.
Basically. If you do the things to like refill your cup in February, then maybe you can turn it around in March and it'll be all good. That's my goal, right? Then we have April with the Ace of Swords. So shedding light on things and getting clarity. We talked about health choices for loved ones. So it didn't really feel like personal, but it was more watching other people around us, whether that be like family members or kiddos or things like that. But they definitely said that, or talked about whatever choice is made is going to be the best choice or best decision at that time. So
that's good.
So at least there's like, don't worry too much about it. But by doing those things, you can sort of get some clarity on the path ahead. So April wasn't too crazy. And then May is a very family focused month. Family finances, again, don't ignore any health related concerns for self or family. Work is kind of a confusing time. So I just said, make decisions based on what you want, because it feels like if you're doing stuff for other people, especially career related, it's gonna just suck the energy right out of you. So that's one that is like, again, say no to what you don't want to do, basically. Within reason, obviously. And then June, we have the Knight of Swords. June feels a little chaotic. We do have a Tower in career, although that could be towers. I'm now warming up to towers being sometimes good. You make the decision.
Sometimes,
You make the choice, right? Like,
does it need to end? And you're
right?
just not wanting it to?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't let it topple without your say so here. Let's see. We also have Wheel of Fortune and relationship, so ups and downs. So again, there's a lot of just a lot of moving parts and kind of trying to fix lots of different things all at the same time. Finances also has some risks. So yeah, June is just be careful with June, I guess. Trust your intuition with your health. But that's kind of we can just relax in June, and then maybe it'll just scoot on by that. Right.
That sounds good. That sounds good for the Geminis. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell Frosty to take a Till pill in June.
Summer vacation. Yeah. Well, that'll be the Team Weird takeover. So we can all just hang out and
right. That'll be fun. And then July, we have feeling pressured to make decisions. Just know, again, whatever decision you make is the right in the moment. Feeling trapped, caught between a rock and a hard place in a relationship that could be family, friends, or romantic. Let finances simmer. So this is we need to restock on our bank accounts here. So save as much as you can that month. And then also may need to seek career advice. So again, if you're pivoting or stuff is getting overwhelming.
Oh yeah, that goes well with the month before.
Yeah, things are just getting transitions all over. Know you're loved and protected. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. And then we got August.
Come on, August.
August is good.
Good.
August is good. Enlightened month. Many things coming to light and again gaining more clarity. So this is a good with relationships on the horizon. If you put forth the effort, there's a lot of payoff in that category. Finances feel a little all over the place, but and then it looks like career health categories are showing recovery. So again, it's you go through the blip, if you ride it out and don't just quit your job when you're pissed off or anything like that, you'll be all right. Just don't start
do if you
right if it's the right decision for you, then do it. Then do it. And then we have good old lovely Knight of Cups in September. We have this is a powerful month. I mean, it might just be that I was pulling cards too, because that's my month. But career, health feel like they're an amazing place now. We got finances are stressful, but positive outlook on the horizon. Spirits reminding us that we can only be so prepared. So again, they're shouting at Virgos here. You can only be so prepared. Some things are outside your control.
Did you hear that,
Virgos? You can control your attitude.
Virgos on the back. Did you hear all that?
Yeah.
I know, right? I was like, as I was doing the reading, I was like, shut it.
We got a lot of Virgos. I know a lot of Virgos.
Oh, yeah. We do. Yeah. So I was like, oh, man, they were shouting. And then we have October. This is a good. I love this King of Pentacles because there's tons of court cards in October. So there's a lot of long-term planning. We always kind of get with our group, the October is the preparing for the next year is really when people kind of start. So that makes a lot of sense with that energy of reviewing what's gone on and adjusting plans as appropriate. It says be clear in your communication with relationships regarding finances. Career feels a little, again, we're kind of back all over the place, but the one warning was don't take on too much in September. And then that will really give you a good outcome with October. Back to cold, I know, right? Back to going into the cave and growing out the beard, apparently. I don't know. And then
beards keep you warm in the cold.
Right?
Yeah.
With that fuzzy little doggy too. November is a peaceful month. Again, don't stress, don't overthink things, enjoying the holidays, whatever. Get out of your own way. Enjoy the moments. So there's a lot of repeating messages in November about that. And finally, December is a good old wholesome month here.
Yay.
It's another family-centric month. Lovers in the relationship. So we've got new beginnings and Ace of Coins in the finances. So lots of big, big, good things. Don't let, again, your career overwhelm. Don't let others pressure you. Find someone you trust to share your feelings with, family, friends, therapists, to release any energies as you go into the new year. Because this is like rounding it out. I feel like 2025, though, is like a big year. So a lot of good stuff happening for people. It just is going to take a lot of patience, I think.
Yeah,
work.
I kind of feel like it's like just kind of go with the flow this year, because I don't think anything is going to be for certain for anybody in the collectively.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
I think it'll be a good test of like people, going with the flow and getting out of your own way. And like
a lot of your cards for many different months had like kind of self-care, don't overdo it kind of things. And that's the way I've been feeling about this whole year too, is like, let's just not overdo it. You know, like just take it slow. Don't push too hard. Just let it, whatever happens, it's gonna be okay. You know, like
roll with the punches. I know it's my big lesson to be learned. So, and this is the year of the hermit. So that makes tons of sense with you know, all of us needing to go look within and learn more about ourselves, so that when we come out of hermit and whatever next year is, this 2026, that, you know, you can take what you learn and become the teacher and really grow. This is like the growth year. So right, hermit when you need to hermit. That's right.
Alyson's prediction stuff with the hermit was like, you're gonna have times when you need to go in, but then make sure you go back out.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I think for mine, I was seeing lots of uncertainty for 2025, which I think kind of goes along with that. It's just kind of like we don't really know what's going on. I did have a thing up for financial issues, like make sure you're budgeting correctly, be smart with how you do things, like work smarter, not harder kind of thing. So it's always interesting because I feel like there is kind of a common thread that ran through a lot of the predictions this year. So
always is.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's what's so fun about it. I'm sad I couldn't miss the first round of them, but
that's okay.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So we have that. We'll get that down, and then next January, you know, a little less than a year from now, we'll on our New Year's show, we'll go over the predictions for 2025, and we'll be making predictions for 2026.
I know.
Let's not think
we got a year though, so
come on now, it's February.
Just there we go. All right. So Tara Mama, let's get started with kind of the basis here, because I know there were some things that I didn't know about. So let's go ahead and start with the basic question here, which is, how did you get started with the woo-woo and the paranormal and tarot reading and all those kinds of things?
I think I've always like been very woo-woo, but it was always very secretive. I was thinking back today, and like, I don't know, I was like asking spirit to like help me remember stuff so that I have something to like chat about. And it was just like boom, 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 flying stuff at me. So yeah, it was cool. I can remember one of my first like sleepovers, like I must have been kindergarten, first grade, maybe. Went to like my friend's house, and she had like a high school sister who had another high school friend over. And I don't know, they were definitely living the witch life, because, you know, that's like the craft time and all the stuff right after the 80s. And they were definitely living their witchy life. And so I obviously didn't know what was going on in kindergarten, first grade. I mean, I kind of felt like, I don't know if we're supposed to be doing this, but I was also just like incredibly fascinated. So yeah, I went to my first seance probably in kindergarten. That was fun.
Dang high schoolers.
Dang high schoolers locked
Bad
me in the bathroom
influences.
doing good old Bloody Lady.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Bloody Mary.
yeah, and it was fun, but it definitely intrigued me. I started watching like X-Files. I don't know. Scully is like my idol. I always wanted to be her. So yeah, that's probably just fascinated. I was really into tarot, but and other things, I wouldn't say tarot was like my highlight of whatever. I kind of just always did stuff intuitively, and throughout high school, like whenever, that was one thing that those girls taught me, was like they told me, you're gonna just want to do stuff, and you're not gonna know why you're doing it, but just do it. And I was like, I didn't know what that meant, but it was true. Like writing things or journaling of like manifesting, not knowing that's what I was doing, or candle work, not knowing that's what I was doing, but I just felt like, oh, I'm supposed to do this thing and do it.
So looking back on that now,
Yeah.
what do you think about those kinds of knowing things before you really knew what they were?
It's fascinating. I don't know a better word than that, because I was always searching. I think that's what it was. I was always searching for my place. I always had all these friends that had like, religious groups, or like they belonged to churches or this, mosque or whatever it was. And I was fascinated to learn about that stuff and go with them to like just be really inquisitive, but I never fit in anywhere. Also didn't feel like I ever could discuss what I was feeling.
Yeah.
So that was like, it was very secretive, but yeah, that's my goal now, is like, I feel like live out loud, right? Even though it's still hard for me sometimes, like that's the message I got from it, is like, just trust, because, I shut it down. And then the tower hits you, and then you have to confront it.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of got into tarot, was just needing something outside of myself to process thoughts, because I had so many people lying to me, or I convinced myself they weren't being dishonest, but I had so much going on that I needed just something visual to sort of just track stuff. And that's really when I started learning about like, therapeutic tarot and stuff like that. And that really helped me to explain my feelings. And I could just pick a card and be like, this is what I feel right now, even though I don't know what it means. So, and that sort of just opened the doors more and more. And that's really what happened. The tower happened, and then I was like, well, I don't have this anymore. So it was like, pivot and learn something new.
So when did you, like thinking back, when did you start suppressing it? Like what age were you when you decided like, maybe I shouldn't do this, or I'm not going to do this?
Really young, because I would talk about seeing things or feeling things, and everybody, this is my thing. Like, I feel like adults kind of crush the magic in kids, right? We suppress it. It's an imaginary friend, or, even when you say things like that are like, for lack of a better term, psychic predictions, whatever, premonitions.
Yeah.
That gets weird for people, and they don't like it. So it's like, they shut it down.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that going on, but it's ironic now talking to my parents, because of course they don't really remember anything. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, your grandma was blue, and your great aunt was blue, and this was blue, and they knew everything. And so like, this was a medium. So it was, it's been an interesting journey for sure.
So then, can you share anything about your tower moment? What happened?
Sure. Yeah. So I work in healthcare, and I was so career focused, even though I was also like new mom too at the same time. And it was definitely that path thing of like, okay, like I could be a workaholic because I'm a Virgo Cap rising, like, but I also want to be this like perfect mom, and just really hard to balance the two.
Yep.
And so, my husband was really encouraging me to like keep moving forward with my career. And so I kept getting promoted very, very quickly, from like the worker bee to like a manager. And then within like 2 years, I was a director level at a hospital. I was the youngest director they'd ever had. And it was like a really proud moment. I knew like family wise was suffering. And that was really hard. And then, it just had to deal with like people don't like to see other people succeed sometimes, it's that kind of a
Certain people, yeah.
yeah, certain people, not all, of course, right?
Yeah.
Not all. But in this case, there was quite an awful lot. And I think there was a lot of one of the things that was happening was I was getting so much like clear information, but didn't know that's what it was at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I was like a way open empath. So I would just know stuff and have no clue how I knew it, knowing like things I shouldn't know. And then there was a lot of like, well, how did, I kept getting in trouble by like saying like, oh, blah. And then they'd be like, how'd you know that? And I was like, I don't know. I just read the room. I don't know. Like, and that like just eventually caught up with me.
At some point, you like when you start to realize, things that you shouldn't know, you're like, okay, well, how did I know that? Oh, it's just like it was deduction. It was common sense.
Like,
it was, whatever.
Yeah. And I was
I
such a scientific brain person, like so sciencey that I wanted to know what else was out there, but I was also like, I wouldn't say I would guess I was a skeptic for sure. Because I wanted proof, wanted to know why and all that. So if somebody would ask me and I didn't know, it freaked me out kind of.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I tell people like, man, trust your intuition. Cause my story is like these two women that I met at this job, big, like high up people, they would make me sweat every time. It's gross. They would make me sweat every time I met, like from the first day I met them.
Like literally sweating.
Literally just profuse. It was so gross to the point that I was so like uncomfortable. I'd like see them and I'd be like, this is so weird. And I told both of them because I thought it was so weird.
Yeah.
And they were both like, and I tell you what, the last day I was at that place, those two ladies were the ladies that sat me down at the table. And like they were the end. And so I was like, holy smokes. Like the whole time Spirit was trying to warn me.
Your body was letting you know.
Yep.
That they were the not nice ladies. Yeah. Wow.
And it was like, holy moly. So I don't usually sweat. I'm not gross. But now I know.
Yeah.
If I do, I just slowly back away.
It was a sign. And that's something that I think not enough people know about is that your body will tell you things.
For sure.
So you have to pay attention to that too when you're
Yeah. So yeah,
wow.
It was a rough year for sure.
So that job you ended up having to leave it or
Yeah, I got walked out. It was a weird. I was like, all I had were exceptional reviews. It was just it was chaos. Like I was like, I didn't have a single, no blip against me. It was so weird. It was so obviously it was all, chaos. And yeah, it was a downhill struggle with, the next month I, had a loss. And so it was just like, boom, month after month just hit me. And so I finally was like, all right, I surrender. Like, what am I supposed to be learning right now? Tell me what's going on. And that's what I did. I was like, all right.
So that's when you picked up tarot and
absolutely like really dug into it. So that's kind of the because background.
There we go.
Yeah.
So Kaylin had mentioned, honestly, spiritualists are the most skeptical because I think we try Spirit that absolute. I know dang well Spirit is tired of being questioned. And, I agree with that because, I mean, I mean, we're here and we talk about the things that we talk about, but I take everything with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Mhm.
And just because we have spiritual beliefs, or just because we might believe in Bigfoot, or we might believe in extraterrestrials, or we might believe in the Mothman, or whatever is your thing, that doesn't mean that you have to believe everything
Mhm.
without taking any kind of logic into, like there's all kinds of like things that I'm into that I don't necessarily like. I need some evidence to be able to back up. And even as a medium or a spirit, like, I mean, that's what it is, right? Like an evidential medium.
Yep.
Like you're looking for evidence to back up
Yeah.
the thing. So like,
Absolutely.
I think, the idea that, we're not using skepticism,
Hmm.
I think is ridiculous a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm constantly floored. I
Yeah.
constantly question stuff I get, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's proof, and it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's floors me every time. So it's cool.
You guys want to hear a cool
exciting
story?
and new.
I didn't even get to tell Jenny about this today.
Oh yeah.
What?
I got a cool story. I
Okay.
had to get rid of something out of the back of the truck this morning.
What?
I was driving to work, and all of
Uh-huh.
a sudden, I felt this really oppressive energy in the back of my truck, and it was
Oh.
staring at me in the
What?
rearview mirror.
Oh.
Yeah,
Stuffed.
and
A
so
stuffy.
I did like the light thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I told it that it needed to go, and it went. But I think it had something to do with some kind of energy that was left over from a car accident.
Mm.
And so like
Yeah.
I picked it up on the
Mhm.
road.
Mm.
That is that's something that happens to me. I don't think I've ever discussed at all with anybody. Maybe one
Mhm.
time with one friend. When I'm
Really.
driving down the interstate, I pick up stuff continuously,
Same.
and I'm constantly having to like do my clearing and protecting my car constantly,
Mhm.
like multiple times in a drive, because I'm constantly seeing things that I know, like my first instinct is this is going to happen to me.
Mhm.
But then I have to realize, no, this is probably something that already happened and I'm just driving through the energy, but I
Mhm.
pick up on it so quickly and
Mm.
I just have to set my space, set my energy and be like, nope. I literally will say in my head, no, and like
Yeah.
push all that
Yeah.
energy out. I have to do it all the time.
It's so well, it's good to know that because to let you guys, inside a little bit. I'm not a morning person. I'm a night owl. So
Same.
when I'm driving to work in the morning, it's usually a very somber occasion. It's still dark outside. I have my coffee, and I'm the kind of person who just kind of gets where I need to go. I turn on like sports talk radio or something just for like background noise. And normally I'm just like, it's like I drive to work and it's like I'm not even really thinking. I'm just kind of like getting, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I just had this feeling of like something's in the back seat, something's staring at me, and I could almost see. Like
Mhm.
I turned around and looked, and I almost could see like it was darker on one side than it
Mm,
was on the other.
spooky.
And I was like, "What in the heck is that? And why would it be here? And I'm just trying to get to work this morning. What's going on?" And then I was like, it just popped in my head. It was like it's left over from a car accident.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, which makes sense because I was on an interstate.
Yep.
But anyway, I thought I would share because it was
Yeah.
really interesting. And now that's the second time for some reason, I won't use the other word, seems
Mhm.
to be coming and finding me when I'm driving,
Well,
which is really interesting.
I was just listening to or something. I can't remember where I heard it, saw it, read it, whatever. But thinking about the movement of energy,
Yeah.
like water and
Yeah.
it was in Sam Baltruse's book I'm reading about Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, okay. Sam.
Water and
Yeah.
train tracks are two of
Oh,
the
sure.
biggest things for creating energy for spiritual things to happen because there's constant movement, constant motion, constant energy. And I
Mhm.
think we should add highways onto that too because
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
constant energy, constant motion. And then on a highway, there's all kinds of terrible, horrible things that happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
I
I
agree.
probably shouldn't admit this, but I kind of get into a meditative state when I'm driving. So that's probably a combination of the both.
Yeah.
I love how yours is so wholesome. You're listening to like sports talk. I listen to murder podcasts. My kids are always like, wait, who died? Wait.
Yeah. Well,
What?
I usually listen to metal and stuff like that, depending. But like in the morning, I just need something that's like, I don't know. Yeah, I hate the world in the morning, but yeah. Anyway, that's how that was going. So I thought it was interesting to bring up. So that actually makes me feel a little bit better, Jenny. That's been something that you've
Yes.
had.
Same.
And I don't think I'd ever really talked about it before. So
me and you had never talked about it.
No, I don't think I'd ever talked about it to anybody.
Yeah.
So that you've had the same kind of experiences.
Yeah, I've rarely do I see things like visual things but I've had once where I swore that I saw somebody like step right in front of the car, like my friend was driving, and I panicked. I thought like, and they were like, you know, like, why did you spaz out? And I like started crying and like, you know, looking all around and like I just went into and like I couldn't really talk for a second. And then they were like, what'd you see? And I couldn't tell them because I again was very secretive. Like, what am I gonna say? Oh, by the way, I just saw this woman just step out right in front of your car, like, and you just went right through her. Like, it was very scary. But yeah, I get pulled always to like, you know, where they have like the memorials like on the side, or always like it's just like boom, boom. And I just, you know, I just kind of hold space for that, whoever that person is. But I also have a lot of times, like a freakish number of times where I have sensed a car accident getting ready to happen right in front of me.
Yeah.
And so I literally will like go off and then it happens, but I'll watch it. So like, I mean, the number of times I've been in like police accident reports because I just watched it unfold, you know, it's like, I'm like, oh, that person's about to run that red light, boom, you know? And so it's like, I just watch it. I don't know if that's a lot of
precognition.
Yeah. I don't know if that's because like, is it the chicken or the egg? Like, is it the woo? Or, you know, when I was a kid, I volunteered at like a police department. And so I got taught to like pay attention to your surroundings and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably a little both, but you know.
Yeah. Precognition. And actually, let me go ahead and say that too. If anyone's in chat and you got a good precognition story, throw it in there. I'm always interested in that. You know, my biggest the only precognition, I won't say the only, because I do use that a little bit more. But one of the big precognition events that I had was with Jenny. It was when we were a lot younger and we were eating at a restaurant, and both of us like. So I probably told this a long time ago. I don't think I've told it recently on here. So for anyone who's heard it before, I apologize. But we were having a long distance relationship at the time. I had kind of had to move away a couple hours away, and we were still young. We were in our early 20s probably, or maybe even late teens. But so we didn't get to see each other all the time, and we're used to spending all of our time together. And so she came down to visit. So it was a special night, right? Like we hadn't seen each other in a few weeks. So it's like, we're going to go out to dinner. We're going to have a fun night. We've been excited. We've been working all week or whatever. And we go out to a restaurant, which happened to be Fazoli's. If anybody's
Love
I
it.
don't even know if they're around anymore.
They are.
Not here.
We got one.
Awesome. So, you know, we're enjoying our breadsticks and all that stuff. And we're so excited to see each other. And then all of a sudden, I just got this feeling of absolute dread. And I didn't have any experience with that at that time. And I started getting like sick to my stomach. And I just happened, you know, we weren't fully woo. I mean, we weren't where we are now, Jenny, right?
No,
I mean,
no.
like I knew you had some abilities, but you weren't the medium Jenny Lee yet, right?
No.
And so like I looked at you and I was like,
weird art school student.
Yeah, you were weird art school, yeah. And I was metal frontman.
Yeah.
So I was a black metal singer. So I was like, hey, like we gotta I feel really weird, like I want to leave. And you were like, we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And like we literally like packed our food up and like went and like ate like in the car or somewhere else or something.
Yeah.
Right?
And but we never knew if there was anything that happened.
But that's the problem is
But
that we
we
got
both
out of
picked
there,
up
but we
on-
don't know if anything
No.
happened or not.
We both
But I
picked
say
up
listen
on-
to that though.
Yes, we
Like,
did.
yeah.
We did. Some
Like-
terrible energy in there that day. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know
I
if it
literally
was just
just-
someone who was in there who was just giving off a really
Giving
horrible
vibes.
It
vibe,
could have been, yeah.
Mhm.
or if something was going to happen there. But we were both
Mhm.
like, we got to get the hell out of here. And it was so odd because it was supposed to be like, we're so happy we're going to sit here and talk for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know?
And
Oh, yeah.
Fazoli's got great breadsticks.
Endless breadsticks, right? Was that when they still walked around and brought them to your table? Like,
Might
Yeah,
have
I don't. It
been.
might have been. It's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had
Yeah.
a question comment from Kaylin, your
Yeah.
wife,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
So going back to your listening to murder podcasts,
Mm.
talking about that,
Mhm.
Kaylin's watching a show about the Warren family removing spirits and messed up with her sleep. And because of that, she stays away from them. Have you had anything like that happen, or
Sure.
not for you because you're just listening to murder podcasts in the car?
I mean, I think when I always tell people like I love every horror film, but the ones that get me the most are definitely the, I don't have a problem saying this, but some people might, the whole demon possession kind of thing.
Yeah.
I always say those ones used to, I mean, they still do. They're probably the most freaky to me because I always said like, either this is real and so you don't have the control, or this is somebody who's possibly so mentally ill, but there's still like things happening. So, but either way, that's terrifying to me. So yeah, for a long time, like that was where I would be really weirded out. But I will say after like taking classes with medium Jenny Lee or Cindy Kaza or other people, I've definitely really changed my stance on that. I don't kind of like what Frosty was just saying about how everything so far now that I've ever encountered that feels kind of yucky or negative, I've found that if I just sit with it for long enough, I figure out like it started to kind of reveals itself to really not be as spooky and terrible. And even if I mean, honestly, it's been really rare that I've ever encountered anything that was like, truly in one of those categories, really rare. But even then, I wasn't really freaked out about it. I was more just intrigued, but like also like, I won't mess with you if you don't mess with me. Like we can just have a conversation if that's all, and then you can be on your happy way. Like I think if you protect yourself and go at it from that kind of with that sort of what's the word? Oh, words just blanked out on me. Like with that,
it happens.
That point, that's the whole point of it is that you're just
like your intention.
Thank you. That's the word. I was like, it's an I word. Intention. Thank you. Yeah, if that's the intention, then because I always think that just in all of the cases studies I've read or watched or documentaries or all of the stuff, I love Lorraine Warren. Like I think she was a really cool lady. I have questions.
Yeah.
I have questions for sure. But I think that that's honestly the nature of some of the beast out there with, when people start getting paid for things. That's why I also feel like I'm a little weird about, like when I got started with tarot, like I was weird about charging people, and I still get weird about it sometimes because I feel like when money gets involved, then what is it? The root of all evil. So
only if you let it.
Right. And people, honestly, everything I've found with like dark stuff has always been really from people.
Yep.
It's people's fear. People's
or just nasty people.
Yeah. It turns out to mostly be people, really.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
Oh, the spirit's an asshole. Oh, it's just an asshole guy or what?
Yeah.
The lady who's not very nice or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I always say, it's like, it makes me think of like a obnoxious, like child, really, like that's just trying to scare you. So if you're going to be scared, then they're like, heck yeah. Like, I'm gonna
Yes,
mess
which
with
is what
you.
I was gonna say. Like the fear is what feeds the
Yeah.
things that really are dark and yucky. And
Mhm.
if you can not have the fear or control the fear or realize that you don't need to be afraid of them, then they don't have anything that they want from you. So they
Mhm.
just go
They just-
find something
Yeah.
else.
They get bored. That's what I say. They get bored.
Yep.
They get
Yeah.
bored with me.
Mhm.
And you know,
So,
things change sometimes because, you know, overall, just like what you can take and what you're like, things change over time. Because I
mhm.
used to really enjoy when I was younger, like a lot younger. I didn't mind gore so much. Like I was kind
Mhm.
of gore, yeah, it was fine. And I kind of even appreciate it. And now as I've gotten older, gore is like
I do
I'm not
not
really cool
appreciate it
with the gore
anymore.
anymore. Like if it's done as part of more
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the name of it, but like a more intellectual horror, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But I'm not just in it for
Gore for gore.
that. And
Yeah.
so, you know,
I
sometimes
agree.
things like that change. If you have personal experiences, if you're
Mhm.
watching something with demonic
Mhm.
possession, and that's something that you've maybe had some kind of negative experience with, then it's okay to turn that off for sure. I think that happens
Mhm.
to be one of my favorites, though. I love a good
Oh, I
demonic
love
possession
them.
movie.
Yeah, I love them. But they're the ones. I love them because those are the ones that can actually scare me. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's
yeah,
why I like it,
yeah,
because it
yeah.
gets in my head. Like, so, but I've had like, sometimes like scary dreams, or there was, oh yeah, I can't think of which one it was, but there was one where it was like, I think I told this story before, but the first time I saw Exorcism, I was like 13. I waited on that one for a really long time.
Mhm.
And I saw it. Um, and that night I woke up, I kid you not, my bed was going up and down. I lived in
Mm.
Arizona. I was
Mhm.
so terrified I couldn't get on my bed for a few seconds, and then it stopped. And then I was like, I bolted like heck to my parents' like room, like, what is happening? Because I was like, oh my God. And Arizona had an earthquake, that tremor from
Oh
California,
my
and hadn't had
god.
one in like 25 years. That's all it
Wow.
was, but it was just the night, the
It
first
just
night I ever
happened to
watched
be
that
the night
movie.
that
Yeah,
you
it was a
watched The
coincidence. I
Exorcist.
was like, nope. And I was like, all right, I got it. Signs. I am not, nope, I won't
There
touch
we
it.
go.
So it took me a long time to ever go back to
Wow.
that one. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a weird night.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that was a moment.
We were
But
trying
yeah.
to watch some kind of show that was like based on real
Mhm.
exorcist stuff. And I think it was called like The Exorcist or something like that. And we watched one episode and I was like, you know what? I can't watch this because
Yeah.
what I noticed was happening was I was putting myself into those
Yep.
situations and I was thinking about like, what would I do if I was in that
Mhm.
situation? And then I knew that if I kept watching it, I was going to end up manifesting something
Yep.
because I
Mm,
was thinking about
yeah.
it too much. So I was like, you know what? One and done. I saw we watched the first episode. I was like, I told Frosty, I was like, if you want to watch the rest of these, cool, but I can't do it. Like
Mhm.
this,
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up calling something in unintentionally just because I'm
Mhm.
thinking about what I would do.
Yeah.
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 I agree with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, because you know, we've thought about the thought forms and stuff like that. We've talked
Yeah.
about that plenty of times. So
Oh
that's
yeah, like
definitely like an
PK
interesting.
manifestations and stuff. Heck,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah. That's probably
Um.
So there was, well, before we get into this, why don't we reset a
Mhm.
little bit for us? So you want to kind of
Yeah, we've
reset
already
us
gone
here?
well past the hour mark.
Yeah.
So if you're just joining us, welcome in. This is the Witching Hours. The Witching Hours is your home for all things paranormal, supernatural, and unexplained. You can find us live on YouTube, on Twitch. If you're finding us here now, or all those podcast places you can find all over the place: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those places. And you can find us at the witchinghourspodcast.com for all the weirdness, where you can find previous shows, upcoming shows. You can find our merch store and more. Although I think we might be looking into this fourth wall thing. So
Mhm.
maybe there'll be some new merch coming around the corner. Um, Tonight, we are joined by Terra Mama, and we are talking about, we went over some predictions for 2025. We've been talking about tarot and how Tarot Mama has kind of gotten into the woo woo world and some of the past experiences. So, welcome in.
How
If
she
you've
went from
jumped
just
in from the beginning.
mama to tarot
Yeah, to
mama.
Tarot Mama. So, one thing that I would like to talk about a little bit, and we have a lot to get into, and hopefully this kind of goes in the timeline here. We
Mhm.
don't get to talk to a lot of our, to other Twitch streamers that much. So how did you get, what made you get on the old Twitchiverse and
Good
start
question.
streaming?
Yeah, I never
things
heard
on
of
there?
Twitch. I'll be real.
Yeah.
I had a friend. She was kind of Twitch stream. Her husband, with my mod. Her husband was Twitch streamer. I can't even talk. And then she kind of would do it every once in a while, but it wasn't like serious. And she was like really encouraging me because I'm in a relatively small town, middle west, whatever, Midwest.
Mhm.
That's
Might
what
as well
it
be Middle
stands
West,
for, Middle
right?
West.
Middle West. And because I kind of really did become like a shut-in, for lack of a better term, with the whole tower year happening, I lost a lot of like my vocabulary. I lost like being able to even hold a conversation. It was really scary time for me, like like mentally just being able to have a conversation. So this is like feels awesome to come out today because it's like being able to have a conversation with people that's not 2 minutes long and just being like, and then I freak out and go inside my brain. So yeah, she was encouraging me. I just had Tarot baby. Everything was sort of going the right way. And I was like, I was not stay at home mom. I was on maternity leave. That's the word. And kind of was like, I need something to keep myself occupied between feedings and all that good stuff. And so that's really how it started, because I don't really have a whole lot of opportunities in this area to like read other people. And I can only read my friends like so many times because I didn't think it would work, to be honest. But literally the first, she knows this, I think, the first streamer I ever watched was Medium Jenny Lee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very first stream I ever watched. And I was like, huh. So I was really intrigued. I got to throw Gigi in there. Great is good. I watched him quite a bit. It was just like the timing of when it fell,
Mm-hmm.
Cosmic, like, just all the peeps. And Jenny and Team Weird I still remember kind of like starting to talk about it. And Granny Savage, yeah. I don't know if you remember Granny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I miss Granny Savage. I think like
yeah.
she was just starting.
like,
She was still streaming when I jumped on, but I never caught one of her streams. And then
She
It was
streamed
like during the
during the
day.
day. That's
Yeah, it was
That's
during
why.
the day.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it
Mhm.
was. So it was like just kind of getting encouragement to like try it. And then I did. I mean, I was so nervous at the beginning. I was like, I would call my sister and my mama and be like, come sit on my stream with me so I'm not alone. And then
I mean,
so
I didn't know if it would work either, because I was trying to
Yeah.
do medium readings and like, how am I gonna read somebody with all I have is their screen name,
Yeah, it was so
But
weird.
it didn't matter, because really all you're reading is the energy, and you can
Yeah.
read the energy from anywhere. I think that's something that so many people figured out when COVID happened and we had to do things virtually.
Mhm.
It's like the energy doesn't matter.
Mhm.
It's like quantum physics or whatever the hell.
Right. Now, when you read, my experience now though is if I read people in person now, it is like I have to be real careful. Like I gotta like turn the volume down because it's like so loud almost. Because I think from learning this online thing, it's like as soon as they're in person, they could just be walking up to me. And if I know I'm like in my tarot zone doing readings or whatever, as soon as they start walking up, I'm just like, all this info. And I'm like, whoa, like, okay. They haven't even asked the question yet.
Very different.
Yeah.
In person. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've gotten to do more in-person readings now, going to some of these
Mhm.
Paracons we've been going to, Janae. Have you kind of found that too? Like the differences?
I have the opposite problem because really I'm very shy. You wouldn't think so. On Twitch, you wouldn't think that, people, but I am. in person, I'm a very shy, and I always have been. So when someone comes up to me, my instinct is to run and hide. But I realize I can't do that. I'm here to do this. So I have to just force myself to sit there long enough to be comfortable with the person, which only really takes like a couple minutes. And then I'm like, all right, it's go time. Like I'm good to go.
Come on. Yeah.
So yeah, I have the opposite problem.
So for you, the problem isn't necessarily even getting connected into what you need to get connected into. It's making sure you feel comfortable with the person you're sitting with.
Yes, because you know, I'm sitting directly across from someone. They're sitting like 3 feet away from me. I'm having to look at their face and their eyes. It's like, you know,
and deliver like news or you know,
it's very
tears and a lot of energy. Emotions.
I know, and I know, you know, the husband, the cheerleader, all that stuff. But every time I'm astounded when we go into these cons and stuff, and you do live readings, because you know, obviously, I'm your cheerleader, right? Like I want you to do well. I'm rooting for you every time you do it. It's more nerve wracking for me than I think it is for you, because every time somebody comes up, I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, you know, and I'm like, and then the person leaves and they're like crying, or they're like super happy, or like everything's great. And you just knock it out of the park every time. But I'm sitting like on the other side of the table, like right there going like, oh my God, like I have to get up and walk away sometimes because I'm just like so nervous about it. And so yeah, you do great. But you don't seem like you're that shy. So
I love that. I love that you're so supportive, Frosty, because Tarot Daddy, he's supportive. But I remember Jenny started doing that, like what's in the box thing. I only got to watch it on one stream. And like the one day was the scrunchie. And I was like, waking Tarot Daddy up. I said, hey, it's a scrunchie. And then you go, oh my God, Tarot Mama, it's a scrunchie. And he goes, he literally wakes up, looks at me, and he goes, wow. And I was like, what? That's my first experience. Why are you doing that? And he goes, my wife did another woo thing. And he just went to bed. It's like,
he does not understand how difficult what's in the box is.
What's in the box is very difficult.
I know.
Yeah.
So he's like,
yeah.
He's like, why would I be surprised?
I mean,
no, you should be shocked.
I still feel happy about like my one victory on what's in the box from like 2 years ago. So, you know,
I know, that's why I'm not going to guess anymore too. Cause I'm like, I got it that night. I'm good. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, once you get it, you're done. You've mastered it. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, there's a bunch of stuff still that we haven't even got to, because I was going to ask you about the ghost hunting stuff before we reset. However, there's another question I want to ask that I think leans more into what we're talking about right now. So for you, because of course I've gotten to watch your streams many times and how you read. And for you are able to mix the tarot and the medium stuff together.
Yes.
And for you, I was just wondering, like, how are you experiencing that as you're reading? Because it's like you seem to always start with tarot, but then things pop up and it all flows together. So how does that work for you?
I describe it to everybody as like the way it feels. It helps that I have ADD. So it's like being like a old school, like 50s operator and just like plugging the lines to make the connections. And it's happening like super fast. Again, I use the tarot. It's kind of like my security blanket. Like I tell myself like I'm not doing a reading without the tarot. So like that, because it keeps me kind of focused and getting like the concepts together and keeping on track a little bit. Because otherwise, sometimes I'm getting so much different information. Like I could get like an angel and then like a human spirit. And then I'm also getting like a spirit guide over here. And then I'm getting the person's energy. And then I'm getting their inner child all at the same time. And otherwise it'd just be like word vomit. Like, I don't know what to tell you, right? I don't understand how this fits together. So for me, the tarot I'm a very visual person. And I've known, like, even though my memory seems like it's crap now, I have like a photographic memory. So that's what I kind of played into my strengths in that. And what's fascinating now, I have my own, process now where, each of my decks, like if you watch my stream or you watch my readings, like I pull cards from different decks because each deck has like a different meaning or purpose, answers different questions, things like that. So that also helps me like get the idea, okay, this is about the career and this is about your loved one. And it helps put everything together and make sense. And at the same time, using those medium skills, the clairs, all of that stuff to tell the story, because that's really what we're doing with tarot, is telling the story.
Yeah.
And I think the visuals also help your reader, your querent, because they might see stuff. So I tell people, watch for symbols, or if you start seeing repetitive things or colors that pop, or that's really key. And I don't know that I can ever. I just love the tarot so much. And the way that, again, it becomes a common language with the different art and stuff like that. So even with like kids, you can throw cards and ask them, what do you feel today? And just pick a card, whether it's colors or shapes or what's on the card itself. You can do so much with those visual cues and help to explain, oh, here's why I'm getting this information. And like, that's kind of what I like to do with it. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Does it also help like confirm, validate things that you're picking up on that because it shows up in the cards?
For sure. Yeah. Cool. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden I'll be like, I'm sure most of your team weird knows, but we call it like the marshmallow, right? Like you see the thing and I'm like, I don't know why they keep pointing this one thing out. And then sure enough, it'll be like, I won't call anybody out here, but like one thing was like a symbol of like a dandelion, like blowing, like the blowing thing. And I was like, they keep pointing this dandelion. I know it's got to mean something now. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, that's a tattoo on my shoulder for my grandma. Okay. Oh, yeah. Got it. And so it's like one of those things where it helps to break that first. Especially for like people who've never had a reading, it can be really helpful.
Awesome. It's always really interesting too, because sometimes from what I've seen from people doing readings, and that can be you, Terra Mama, or Jenny, like, watching people do readings online, is sometimes when you seem to have those really difficult readings where it's like, they're just not really getting it. And I don't know what you're talking about really. And none of that really that usually means at the end, there's going to be a really huge thing. Like the most difficult ones are always the ones that end up being the most revealing. Sometimes it seems like,
I had a reading I did for a lady at not this last event, but the one before that. I spent, I don't know, 20 minutes with this lady, and there's clearly a person coming through for her, and she just can't figure it out. I don't know who this is. I don't know. I'm like, okay, let's get some more information. And then she's like, would it help if we hold hands? So I was like, sure, let's try it. So we're holding hands, and I go back to the spirit, and I'm, getting more information. And then all of a sudden the woman just completely gasps and bursts into tears. And it was like after we had been going through so much trying to figure out who this poor person was. And then she knew exactly who it was.
I love that.
It was like, it's just one of those things you have to trust what's coming through, whether it's tarot or medium, because
it was like someone she hadn't really thought about in a long time.
Not make sense for so long, and then it just something clicks.
And people who you don't expect to come visit you sometimes come and
Jenny's
visit.
Gotten lots of those for me. Like I'm like, man, she always says like, think of your Z team, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy cow, like
why is like, that person coming,
right?
So before we run out of time, there's like a whole nother side of you that we did not know about with this ghost hunting stuff, right? Those are the things that you sent us, the videos?
Yeah.
I had no idea. So tell us about that. What's up with the ghost hunting stuff?
Yeah, I did all that before I really got woo. So like that was because I was kind of, truth is out there, right? I got to figure this out. I have to feel it for myself. So I've been to lots of different places, traveling, trying to find like the most haunted, because I just needed confirmation. Now I don't seek it as much anymore because of, my own experiences and proof for myself. I don't need it as much anymore. But I gave kind of a list of some cool places. I guess some of the highlights. So, and some of mine
So
don't
you
have
were
a anymore.
kind of using the paranormal investigation as a way to like kind of please the skeptic side of you.
Yes,
It's
for
like
sure.
I want to go find evidence.
Because I also did like so much science and stuff. So I was like,
Mhm.
let's experiment and like then debunk it. And like that was definitely more my side of it of, you know, I
Mhm.
wanted to figure this out. And to be honest, like I could debunk quite a bit of it. But you know, so I wanted to go places where people I sort of like teams I kind of like started to trust a little bit or that were also kind of more skeptic side of things or did more experimental kind of investigations. Those are the places like I was like, I need to find for myself. Um, and so um, one place, so I used to live in Phoenix or in Arizona. I did visit one of the most haunted hotels in Phoenix, which is the San Carlos Hotel. And I don't have like the proof anymore because you know I don't have digital camera anymore. But that one has like a cool history in itself, like fun trivia. It is in the background of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, like when they're first showing the house and Alfred Hitchcock's talking, it's like the roof of it. You can see it because that's where they filmed it in Phoenix. So fun. It has like ghosties. You know, they have all kinds of stories, mostly talking about like kids being mischievous. So I went on a ghost tour there. I like to learn about the history and stuff as well. One of the coolest things, they do have one sad story of a ghost. I think her name's Leon Jensen. And now I don't know if it was her, but it was definitely a feminine energy. Like I know that now. And it was cool. We went through like the basement and then we rode up this kind of small elevator going up to the top floor. Supposedly she jumped from the roof but we were inside the building and they had said like we have this like spirit that kind of flirts with men. And I was like, that's weird. Okay, I don't understand what that means. So I rode up with like my best guy friend and gave him the digital camera. We would like he would lean over this place to take a picture in this like stairwell ceiling. And every time he took a picture, you could see this bright orange like orb streaky thing. But then he'd hand the camera right to me. I'd do it, nothing. And so we kept doing it back and forth, right? It was like super cool. Like, what the heck is this? Like, you know, not really an orb kind of person, but that one was kind of cool. Then this other guy and girl come up on the elevator behind us and we like literally like, do you have a digital camera? Like tell the guy, lean over and do it. Same thing on his, like, and then the girl took pictures. So that one was fun. I don't have the pictures anymore for that one.
Like she's just showing up for the dudes.
She just shows up only for men. Yeah. But apparently she was like the whole why she did what she did was supposedly about a scorned lover and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? I mean,
yeah.
And then I think some of the cooler places, I would say, I went to I think the Lemp Mansion. That one I had. So Taps was that the Ghost Hunters?
Yeah.
Taps right there. So I went and stayed at the Lemp Mansion after that, just to get vibes and things like that.
So were you just going there typically by yourself or were you going with like a team or did you have like a friend?
No,
that
I would
you were
go with
investigating
these ones. I kind of did. So I was moving my friend from Arizona because I had moved to the Midwest, and then I made my friend moved out here with me. And so when I flew back to like move them on the way back coming across the country, I made like a map and we stayed at all of these different spots. So it was like a ghost hunt tour across the country.
Wow.
Basically.
Nice. That sounds like fun.
It was fun. Very fun. Yeah, the Lemp Mansion had all kinds of stuff. It was owned by the Lemp family. They'd had like, some people say 4. I think there were 3 family members, all men, who took their lives in that house. So really tragic, sad vibes. And they had the Lemp Brewery. So it was really cool because they had started like the German lager using the caves underneath and everything. So it was really cool energy to the place. and we used all kinds of stuff there. For me, it was always vibes. Like a lot of stuff was vibes, but that's before I knew.
Yeah, before you knew what it was.
Yeah. I'd just be like, ooh.
I know, looking back on stuff like that now,
Yeah.
don't you feel like sometimes like, how did it take me so long to figure
I
this
know.
out?
I was dense. I wanted proof.
Because I do that too. I'm like, I had all this weird stuff happening. What the hell took me so long?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll tell you, we had one experience there was at the LEMP was like, we had the K2 meter, the little flashy light dude.
Mm-hmm.
And we were asking it questions and like, it was binging, answering left and right. Right. We were like on a roll. And all of a sudden I realized my best friend, like, I was like, he's like texting. And I realized that it was the text messages, like, was setting off the EMF detector. So then we debunked it, like, yeah. And so I was like, so that kind of made me wonder a little bit more about, like, I'm more cautious, like watching things of when they use these tools and like, are people using any type of electronic devices around them and stuff like that? Because I was surprised by how much it affected it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
That's something I don't think, well, you already brought them up, like ghost hunters, like taps.
Yeah.
That was one of the things, that was like the first show I saw. So you're automatically going to be kind of predisposed to the first thing you see. But one thing that I appreciated from that show originally was the fact that they did so much debunking.
Yeah.
Where they're like, this whole house is like rigged. And like, yeah, guess what? And one of my favorite things about that show was some weeks you just tuned in and they just didn't find anything.
Nothing happened. Exactly.
Nothing happened.
And
I was like, that makes that. And so for me, it was like, that made it that much more special and that much more exciting when they did get some really good evidence.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, if you're someone who's done paranormal investigation, or if you're going to get into paranormal investigation, you need to know is like, not every time is it going to be,
most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time it's not going to be, The Shining, there's no elevator doors opening up, like it's a lot of time sitting around asking questions in the dark and then sitting through 11 hours of audio recordings and getting bored and not hearing anything.
It's funny you mentioned elevator doors opening. My new job is in a very old building that was so it's so old that women that were married to or the daughters of Confederate soldiers used to live there, and the elevator on our floor opens by itself. I have seen it happen twice.
That'd be a no from me. Nope.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
Let you have the elevator.
There's also a door that shuts at the end of my hallway. There's a door to a computer lab, and I've seen that shut by itself twice. It just goes real slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like it's always, I think it's more vibes. Now one of my things with like, I've seen like some of the teams, I won't call this show out or this person paranormal. I mean, they obviously have a good amount of money from what they've done of like, so they're popular, but I know they've changed their ways, so that's great. But one thing that I saw when I first saw them doing investigations was, I got booted.
We can hear you still, but your video disappeared. Oh, no, there she goes.
All right.
Well,
anyways, that gives us a little bit of time to hopefully we get
Stream is haunted
back. We'll get her Stream is haunted. There we go.
We have some videos of hers we wanted to get to. So
she was getting ready to say something about somebody and they shut her down.
Yeah.
They shut it down. The powers that be,
they're listening,
are censoring. just so you know. We don't get shut down by the CIA or any of the alien talk. We get shut down by network television ghost shows. Dang you.
That was really good or awful timing. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right, she's back.
All right, we're gonna bring her back on. Welcome
We were
back,
just
Haunted.
joking
Mama.
around that we don't get shut down by the CIA or the FBI. We get
Right?
shut down
Haunted.
by other ghost shows.
I know, I was just about to say.
say.
I was literally just about to say, like, the one rule I have, bloop, is you don't provoke anything.
Yeah.
Shut
Yes,
down. They're
yes,
like, I'll
yes,
teach
yes,
you. Don't provoke.
Don't
So-
you mess up our ratings, Tara Mama.
You got to provoke, and everything's got to be a demon.
Yep.
Those are the rules.
Right?
To make it
Like,
on
oh my
television now.
goodness.
Stunning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
So before we
Yeah,
run
I
out of
think-
time, there's some videos that you sent to Frosty. Can
Mhm.
we share one of those?
Sure.
Yeah. Is there one that
You
you want to share of you doing paranormal investigation?
Yeah, you want to do the one with the kiddos? So that one's fun just because it actually, I mean, you could show the other people, but this one's like mine. This is like the most recent. This is during my tower experience. And so this is my last like ghost hunt. I took the kiddos on a ghost tour in Jerome, Arizona, which is like a town that's known for ghosties. It's like on the side of a mountain. It's a weird area. So we did a bunch. Now I'll preface this video by saying that we did a bunch of different spots, and we took like the voice, the box, the REM pod for the EMF. They had a bunch of different tools and stuff to take with us, and we weren't getting anything. I mean, we went to like the old mine space. We went to like some different apartments and everything. And this was sort of like the last apartment on the tour. It was like an abandoned space apartment.
Mhm.
The story supposedly is really sad of, a mom, and perhaps she did something to her children in this apartment. Which obviously I was like, I don't really want to go in this place.
Yeah.
That was my first vibe. But we did. And my son is like a year old and my daughter's 4. And I just started recording like while it's happening. So we go in, he just sits in the front doorway because it's like abandoned. And I was like, don't touch anything. It's sketchy in here. And I don't want the woo vibes going with us anywhere. And, so he like was sitting in the doorway, and all of a sudden he starts waving down the hallway. And the REM pod starts going off in the middle of the room. And we're like, what the heck? And he jumps up and he just starts running straight to it. And then he starts running around the room. And so that kind of shows you where we're. So if he wants to cue that fun one up, it's going to be annoying. So sorry for the REM pod is annoying sound.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get this going, and we will.
Working on sharing the screen.
Ban the REM pod. Yeah, it's going to be.
All right. So we got 2 minutes here.
That's Jerome. Yeah. It's a fun, scary driving there for sure. That was just like the little blip about what happened.
Oh yeah, what you were just talking about waving down the hallway, and then
So he's just.
Look, your friend's here.
That's the tour guide. He starts throwing his passy too. He's like tossing his passy like back and forth across his apartment every time, and then going to pick it up and then tossing it.
Well, one of them is touching the box, so it looks like he might be playing with a few of them. Who are you playing with, sweetheart?
Can you tell us your name on the box that Harper's holding? He just stops. Harper wants to learn your name. I'm not playing with you. I'm playing with the kid.
Yeah.
Can you tell Harper your
Nope,
name?
there it goes.
No.
wow.
It's like it was running with him.
Yeah.
It's like as soon as he went past it, it went off.
And it would still go off like, like sitting and like, he's like paying attention.
There it goes.
Yeah. Would like get his attention, and then he, it was really interesting. Like it was the weirdest. And it was also weird, like I could feel like even my friend that was with me, it was like we would feel this like cold spot, like where we were standing, it would just get cold. And then all of a sudden it'd be like, we're in Arizona, right? In an apartment that's abandoned. So it's not air conditioned or anything.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't really ever like have cold spot kind of stuff, but during this whole thing, it was doing it like when you'd go back and forth. So it was a lot of fun. Just
Like the cold spot was traveling too. Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It's
So
very interesting. Plus,
I don't
he's
know, take it
so
what you will.
cute.
They've always been little seeing things and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I'm curious now because you said you kind of did the paranormal investigation before, so that was stuff that you were doing before you started getting more into the mediumship and doing your stream and all that. Have you been interested now to go and do paranormal investigation as a medium?
For sure.
Okay.
I think it'd be super fun to go, especially like with other mediums too, because I know you like when we take classes with other mediums, it's like everything becomes a lot clearer. And what we get as different mediums is different information. So it helps, I think, paint the picture. But I also think it'd be like, I really want to try doing something where you do like the spirit box with like sort of sensory deprivation with like somebody listening to it with, you know, blindfolded, head noise cancellation and all of that, and then have your mediums there and see, can we get similar information by asking questions? What do we get versus what do we get on the box? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. I think I think it'd be really cool to try to find ways to sort of bring proof to other people that there's more out there. And again, trusting people, because I love that, like Jenny says, like anybody can do this. Anybody can be a medium. And trust yourself when you're doing it. So, and after the fact, like I think that's kind of like the Dead Files concept too. You know, she goes in and does the medium thing. He goes and does the like fact finding piece. And then what do you get out of the both of those things? It would be really fascinating.
Yeah.
It is really the validation across the board. Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone kind of knows that's where I am on that now. Like I really enjoy seeing like Jenny work with other mediums. It's always fascinating when you see them like get the same kind of information, like just the little bit of times, you know, we've talked to Irene and stuff like that. So that's something we're looking forward to doing more in the future. I like doing the tarot card readings together. And doing doing kind of like having different people on a reading the same tarot, because it always seems to match up so well. Just like the predictions we were talking about at the beginning of the show, like, you know,
good way to bring it all the way back around there.
If only there was a place that we could get a bunch of mediums to go to be able to do some paranormal investigation.
If only.
We'll work on that. Maybe somewhere out in West Virginia. We'll see. So I'm really looking forward to that. I just saw that Priestess of Wonderland said, oh, I got the wrong one. It moved on me.
Trying the Estes method. Yes, that's Thank you, Priestess. I was like, I can't remember.
Yeah. And that's something we have to remember. And everyone out there, as we get closer to the Teamwear takeover, people who have equipment and stuff like that, you know, make sure to pack it up, and we can do sessions, some Estes method sessions, and you know, if there's equipment that you have, feel free to bring that in, because I think we're gonna have a hell of a time. So that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. Okay,
the park.
Yeah. Do some ghost hunting at Lake Shawnee.
Yeah,
there's gonna be so much to do. It's almost gonna be too hard to fit it into one day. It's gonna be a lot. Get some. That's why we're coming down Friday night, because I want to sleep in Saturday morning a little bit, so that I'm not trying to pass out at 10:30 around the campfire. You know, so get that sleep in, get some good coffee going that day.
When is that on the books already, or is that
June 7th and 8th?
June 7th. Yeah, June 7th was Saturday, first weekend of June. It should be beautiful weather in West Virginia at that point in time. Up in the mountains, it won't be too cold. It shouldn't be too hot. And so that's what we got planned. We have tickets pretty much ready to go on sale. I just want to make sure I get confirmation one last time before I start selling tickets. And so as soon as we get that information, I was saying last week, he called me back to confirm it. And I was like, I couldn't answer the phone. So we've been playing phone tag, but we're getting there. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of, we still got some time. So we're good.
So before we wrap it up here, Terra Mama, where can people find you that don't know where to find you?
Twitch, Tarot_Mama. You can, if you want a private reading, on my Ko-fi, it's also Tarot Mama. Those are probably the two, and then my Discord as well, which is, I could share that, or we can share that wherever.
Yeah, I'll have that listed down in the descriptions down below, wherever you're listening, whether you're watching this on YouTube or whether you're listening at some other place. What else do you got going on? Do you have your set schedule? Is there anything that you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Well, obviously more ghosty stuff. I stream on Mondays and Fridays at 11 on Twitch, Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, I want to get into all kinds of stuff. It's just finding the time right now. So I'll have to check out the June thing, because I really would love to join if possible. So
that'd be great.
That'd
be
be
great to have you out there.
I know.
Yeah, there's so
I've
many.
never
cool
been to
things
West
to do.
Virginia. I don't think so.
West Virginia is a beautiful state. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Wild and
also
wonderful, West Virginia.
It is very wild. Like, that's one of those places you can go. I mean, there's a lot of places like that in America. I feel like people who are from the cities may not realize that, but you can definitely get lost out there. You know, there's enough out there where,
So
but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, I had a wonderful time talking to you tonight, Terra Mama. We would love to have you on again down the road and talk some more. There's so much that we didn't even get into tonight.
Vampires and all kinds of stuff.
Oh man, yeah. So we'll
barely
have it back on again.
Barely touched on the ghost hunting stuff.
I know it's like so much tonight. So thank you everyone for hanging out tonight. I want to make sure we say thank you again to all the subs we got again tonight from Hoaxsters. Thank you so much from Norsk resubbed, CMC resubbed, Luce was giving bits, and Keisha Mom was giving bits. We had a level 4 hype train, so thank you guys so much for that. We appreciate all of you so much. What do we got going on tomorrow, Jenny? Are we off tomorrow, or what's going on?
Tomorrow night is Little One's talent show, so
it's going to be a late night, I think.
And so there's no stream tomorrow for me.
I think we got about 2 hours of talent show tomorrow night, so it's going to be
maybe 2.5 hours.
It's going to be
we got lots of talent.
It's going to be an event.
It's a lot of talent.
It's a lot of talent. So we'll see you guys back here again soon, at least for the Monday night art stream, I imagine. You got a busy weekend this weekend, so we'll see.
Yeah,
what we can
I will be on Monday. We started our Team Weird Tarot card. We're going to work on that some more. Wonderful. And then we'll go from there.
So for all you people listening at another place, at another time, we will see you all next time. And for everyone who's hanging out with us in chat, let's go find someone over on Twitch to go raid.
Sheepy's on playing Dredge. Kiki Cannon's doing tarot. Treasure Trove's doing tarot. Weird Paul's on. I got Goose Town playing Spirit Swap. Darth McGoat's on playing Green Hell. Moonstone Melly's playing Poke MMO. Blue Light Oracle's doing tarot. And Keisha said Diabolic Tutor just came on, and I think I just saw Maxie Coon. Maxie Coon also, I think, is streaming.
He's playing Pokemon Red version.
It's a lot of
it's been a second since we've gone and seen Sheepy.
It has been a while.
And Sheepy, I know. So yeah, let's go do that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Terra Mama, for being on. It's awesome.
All right.
Off to Sheepy. Go cause some havoc over there.
Yep.
Get her off topic and distracted.
Yeah. All right, everybody. See y'all next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.